Think of something that exists. Your phone, the chair you're sitting on, the person you love. Now, think of yourself, the one thinking these thoughts. For 2,500 years, philosophy has been a desperate search for the truth of these things. We've been told that if we look hard enough, we'll find the bedrock of reality. But in ancient Greece, there was a man who didn't want to find the truth. He wanted to murder it. His name was Gorgias of Leontini. While others were building cathedrals of logic to explain the universe, Gorgias walked into the room and set the blueprints on fire. He didn't just claim that we are mistaken about the world. He didn't just claim that life is meaningless. He went much, much deeper. He proposed a paradox so radical that, if true, renders this video, your thoughts, and the very fabric of the universe impossible. In his lost treatise on nature, or the non-existent, Gorgias laid out a trap that no philosopher has ever truly escaped. He called it the triple threat of nihilism. Most people have heard of solipsism, the idea that only I exist. But Gorgias found solipsism to be too optimistic, too safe. He didn't want to leave you with the comfort of your own mind. He wanted to take that away too. Tonight, we aren't just exploring a theory. We are looking into the void that Gorgias left behind, a place where there is no world, no knowledge, and no way to tell anyone about it. Welcome to the end of everything you thought was real. Gorgias begins his assault with a claim that sounds like a joke, but is delivered with the cold precision of a surgeon. Nothing exists. Now, your instinct is to laugh. You can feel the weight of your body, the air in your lungs. Surely, something is here. But Gorgias wasn't interested in your feelings. He was interested in the rules of existence. He dared you to define what being actually means. He argued that if something exists, it must be one of three things. Either it is eternal, it had a beginning, or it is both. But wait, if it's eternal, it has no beginning. If it has no beginning, it is infinite. If it is infinite, it is nowhere, because to be somewhere, you must be contained by something else. And if it is nowhere, it effectively does not exist. But what if it had a beginning? Well, for something to begin, it must come from something else. But if being started, it must have come from non-being. And as every philosopher from Parmenides to Heidegger will tell you, nothing comes from nothing. So it can't be eternal, and it can't have started. Gorgias traps the viewer in a hall of mirrors. By the time he's finished with his logical gymnastics, he has stripped away the foundation of the physical world. He isn't saying the world is a dream or a simulation. He is saying that the very concept of existence is a linguistic error, a ghost in the machine of logic. We are not living in a world of objects. We are drifting in a vacuum of is not. But let's play along. Let's pretend Gorgias is wrong. Let's assume for a moment that something does exist. Maybe there is a mountain, a star, or a heartbeat out there in the dark. Gorgias simply smiles and hits you with his second blow. Even if something exists, it can never be known. Think about this. You can think of a man flying through the sky on a chariot made of fire. You can see the flames, hear the thunder of the wheels. Does that thought make the flying man real? Of course not. Gorgias's point is devastatingly simple. The objects of our thoughts are not the objects of reality. There is a permanent, unbridgeable gap between the world and the mind. Your brain is not a window, it's a cinema. You aren't seeing the sun, you are seeing a neurological interpretation of light that happened 8 minutes ago. If our thoughts can envision things that don't exist, like unicorns or square circles, how can we ever be sure that our thoughts of real things are actually accurate? We are locked in the basement of our own consciousness, watching shadows on the wall, with no way to open the door and check if there's actually a world outside. Now we reach the final stage of Gorgias's scorched earth philosophy. Let's grant him the impossible. Let's say that the world does exist, and let's say you've somehow managed to know it. You've grasped the ultimate truth of the universe. Gorgias leans in and, the final blow. Even if you knew the truth, you could never tell anyone else. Think about the last time you tried to explain a deep, gut-wrenching feeling, a heartbreak, or the awe of a sunset. Did the words feel enough? Gorgias argues they never can be. Words are symbols, vibrations in the air, ink on a page. They are not the things themselves. When I say the word fire, you don't feel heat. You don't see the flicker of a flame. You only hear a sound that we've both agreed represents fire. But your fire is built from your memories, and mine is built from mine. We are trapped in a linguistic solipsism. Gorgias believed that communication is an illusion. We aren't sharing knowledge, we are just making noises at each other, hoping the other person's internal cinema is playing a similar movie to ours. If reality is the thing, and speech is the sound, then speech can never be reality. We are like two people at opposite ends of a dark ocean, flashing lights at each other in a code that neither of us fully understands. We are, and have always been, profoundly alone. But here is the strangest part. Gorgias didn't spend his life crying in a dark room about the void. He was one of the wealthiest, most famous men in Greece. He was a sophist, a master of rhetoric. And this is the twist. If nothing is true and nothing can be known, then words are the most powerful weapons in the universe. If there is no objective reality to hold us back, then the man who speaks the most beautifully creates reality. For Gorgias, since the truth is dead, persuasion is king. He didn't use his philosophy to find the light, he used it to prove that he could make you believe the shadows were whatever he wanted them to be. He wasn't a nihilist of despair, he was a nihilist of power. So, where does that leave us? Maybe Gorgias was a troll. Maybe he was a genius. But in a world of deep fakes, echo chambers, and shifting digital realities, his 2,500-year-old warning feels more like a prophecy. If you can't prove the world exists, if you can't trust your mind to see it, and you can't trust words to describe it, what is left? Perhaps only this: the silence between my words and your thoughts, the gap where the truth used to be. Next time you speak to someone, ask yourself, are you talking to them, or are you just shouting into the void, hoping for an echo? Thanks for watching, if you're even there.